It's the ultimate travel guide from the people who know it best. Weekends with Yankee. Edgartown, Massachusetts, on the island of Martha's Vineyard, is known for the stately homes that adorn its tree-lined streets. Some were built centuries ago, some are brand new, but most share the distinctive style for which the Cape and the islands are famous. A champion of that style is Patrick Ahearn, one of the island's most successful and prolific architects.
When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I wanted to be a car designer. But when I went to my guidance counselor, when I was about, 13 or 14, and I said, well, how do you become a car designer? And she says, well, you have to go to engineering school. I said, well, I don't think I want to do that. She says, well, what else do you like? I said, well, I like buildings and things like that. Well, you should become an architect. Well, that's like a legitimate profession. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I did. I went to architecture school in 1968, and I was trained as a modernist. When I moved to Boston, I moved to a historic district, which was the Back Bay, and I really started to get a better and keener understanding of classical architecture and its importance to not only me as an architect, but also to our society.
One of Patrick's favorite projects was the renovation of the Coffin House, a 17th century blacksmith's home owned by Victor and Jackie Zolo.
Victor.
Good to see you, Patrick.
Good to see you again.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a pleasure for Jackie and I to welcome you and to have you articulate the history and the work that you did for us, and it's something we enjoy every day.
Some things come to mind that are really special about this property. One is how we not only address your goals and objectives for you and Jackie and your daughter, but also the public realm. We had a conversation about the open porch and should we enclose it or not, and
right.
We came to the conclusion this is a wonderful view of the harbor that the public can enjoy. Any passerby gets a glimpse of the harbor. I think it's really wonderful that you and your family recognize the importance of giving back to the public. And when we think about these kinds of properties, the New England style of architecture really becomes an important piece. And this is a really excellent example of weathered shingles, simple corner boards, but very nicely detailed downspouts. The carpenters of the time prided themselves on creating these kinds of elements and details. So I think maybe we should jump down to the lower level, because
Please.
I think that's really the special treat that most people wouldn't
It's
think
a
was
hidden
possible.
jewel.
So we are basically in what was the Blacksmiths Workshop. We really wanted to create this grotto bar that Victor can enjoy, but at the same time celebrate the history of what this space was before.
The gentleman who built this in 1682 was a blacksmith, and this goes all the way back to those very days, and we enjoy using it today, those hundreds of years later.
Patrick doesn't limit his work to residential buildings. He's also the chairman of a preservation organization called the Vineyard Trust.
The mission of Vineyard Trust is to preserve and restore and manage the iconic endangered landmarks of Martha's Vineyard. Over time, many of these properties have gone into disrepair, and we acquire the property, restore it according to the highest of preservation standards, and then we reintegrate the property into community life.
We were given the opportunity to work with the Vineyard Trust on the Carnegie Library. This was one of the most important buildings in the early 1900s in Edgartown. When we first visited the building, it was acoustical tile ceiling, indoor-outdoor carpet, fluorescent lights, and really not a very pleasant experience. So the first thing we started to think about was how to bring the natural light into the space. And then we decided to use this idea of portal to bring you through the building and draw you through. So we created all these portals that draw you into the primary gallery space.
Vineyard Trust stewards a variety of endangered landmarks on the island. We own the old Whaling Church. We own landscapes. We own the village green. We own Union Chapel. And each represents a varied story.
We wanted to preserve and protect the architectural vernacular and vocabulary of the original building. But at the same time, we wanted to say, how can we open this up and make it inviting and light and airy and a place that people want to come back to all the time? I think preservation of architecture is critically important to our society. It's very important that we not only preserve the architecture of the past, but we also invigorate it with the way people want to live today, so that they're not just museums, but they're actually being used and being lived in and being celebrated for the past, but also for the future.